Welcome to chapter 8 of the book of Revelation. The seventh seal. We've went through the 6 seals, and now we've finally reached the last of the seals. And it begins, and when he opened the 7th seal, the Lamb opened the 7th seal, there became a quietness in the heaven about a half hour. This word half hour only appears in this book of Revelation, nowhere else in the Bible. Emiorion is the Greek word. Now, a half an hour is not a very long time, and this signifies the quiet before the storm, the possibility. And I saw the 7 angels which stand before God. So now he sees in heaven the angels, these 7 angels, and were given to them 7 trumpets. Salpingis. Salpingis is a trumpet. It's a metal horn. It's not a ram's horn called a shofar in Hebrew, but it's a metal, generally a brass trumpet. I think they were gold, and Solomon made some, and it could be some type of other metals. But so they were given a horn. They were given a trumpet. And another angel came and stood at the altar. This is an altar that is somewhere in heaven, having a golden censer. A censer looks like this, and they put incense in it and have set it on fire. I'm not exactly sure how I've never worked a censer, but the Roman churches, the Orthodox Church, still have this, and they swing it around, and the incense goes all over the place. When I was on the island of Patmos, they were doing that, and it was pretty overwhelming if you're not really used to that strong of an odor, to be in a small room with these brothers swinging this incense around. And it definitely filled up the room. It was powerful. Back in the 60s, it was real popular to burn these incense sticks. And they're with the hippies, of which I was associated with somewhat. I wasn't a hippie, but I've been around a lot of them. And so but the censer here was a golden censer, some type of a, we don't know exactly what it looks like, but something probably close to that picture. And were given to him incenses, many incenses, that he should offer the prayers, that's that special angel, of all the holy ones upon the golden altar before the throne. So there's a throne, and then before the throne is a golden altar, like in the tabernacle. The incense altar was smaller than the altar for sacrificing the animals. But so that was there before the throne. So there's no throne in the New Jerusalem where we're going, so I'm not exactly sure if we'll see the incense altar or not, or if it's just for this special period of time or expanse, eon. And the smoke of the incenses ascended in the prayers of the holy ones from out of the hand of the angel before God. So I suppose I've never been a Roman Catholic nor an Orthodox. I don't know the reasons why they have the incense, unless they actually use it in the similar way, and that being the prayers of the holy ones. Excuse me. So if that's was in heaven, I suppose you could do it on earth. I'm not exactly how you tie in a prayer to the incense, but I suppose it would be a hard issue if you felt like this is what it was and it was signifying it, and you were offering it to God. And apparently he would accept it, because he does here, I think. And the angel took the censer and filled it from out of the fire of the altar. So apparently he puts this incense. In the Old Testament, the incense was made of a combination of different elements, and it wasn't to be copied for everyday use by anybody. That was prohibited. And somehow they put this fire to the incense, and from the altar. So there was a fire on the altar, and cast it unto the earth. So he takes it and he's swinging it, and now I'm not exactly sure what was cast, the fire of the altar, or the smoke or the ashes. Something was cast from the censer. And there became sounds and thunders and lightnings and an earthquake. To me, this is similar to what was on Mount Sinai in the wilderness when children of Israel left Egypt, went to Mount Sinai, and God appeared on Mount Sinai and told Moses that he would be there and to come up and not to have anybody touch the mountain, no animal, no human, otherwise they should be shot with an arrow. So the people started hearing all these sounds and they're frightened to death. And so this is a replication, I think, of that sort of a thing. And it's a knowing that there's something that's not earthly happening, that it is an awakening, something that will awaken people. To them it was a fear, and to the people, when this goes on, I'm sure it will be a fear. Hopefully the believers will be taken into heaven. And the 7 angels, having the 7 trumpets, prepared themselves that they should trump. So they're there, and they all have these trumpets, and they're getting ready, got the trumpet up to their mouth. And the first trump, the first angel, and came to pass, hail and fire being mixed in blood, and was cast into the earth. Well, I was thinking, well, where else did that happen? I don't remember the hail, fire, and blood, but I didn't even remember in the entities book that I had it in there. I would look all these up when I'm going through here again, and it says in Exodus 9:24, and there was hail, and in the fire blazing, and the fire blazing in the hail. So this had happened earlier in Exodus 9:24. And then in Psalms 18:12, it says, from the radiance of his presence, the clouds went by, hail and coals of fire. And then Ezekiel 38:22 says, and I will judge him by plague and blood and flooding rain and stones of hail. So this is mentioned in the Old Testament, and it says in the last one in Ezekiel, a judgment. So I will judge him by this. So this is a judgment has been passed, and these are the repercussions. And a third of the earth was incinerated, and all green grass was incinerated. Well, a third of the earth, I don't think it means 1/3 of the globe, 1/3 of the area of the earth, or I'm not sure if it's actually 1/3 and there's 2/3 that weren't touched, or it was the whole earth and 1/3 in some places and some places not. Could be either one, I suppose. And all the green grass was incinerated. So it sounds like it was global. It hit every place. It hit all the green grass, but yet there was things that were left behind. 2/3 of the vegetation or ground wasn't hurt. And then in 8, and the second angel trumped with this trump, and it was as a great burning mountain cast into the sea. Well, now, it doesn't say a star. If it was a star, it would have said so, because it says so in other places. So some type of a great burning mountain cast into the sea. Now, was it a volcanic eruption that roared down into the sea? I don't know, but it is a great burning mountain was cast. It sounds like it was thrown, and whatever that was, I don't know. And the third of the sea became blood. So now, how did it become blood? Were things killed and it became blood, or was the blood had something to do with the mountain? We don't know, but the result was a third of the sea became blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died. That's a lot of death in the seas. Now into the sea. Now is it talking about all the seas in the world, or is it talking about the Great Sea, the Mediterranean? There again, it doesn't say. So I would suppose it was all the seas and the oceans. And the ones having lives, and the third of the ships were utterly destroyed. So in the sea, there's devastation also. A third of the creatures in the sea. So in the third of the ships, and then a third of, in the first one was a third was of all the grass, and a third of the rest of the earth. And the third angel trumped, and a great star fell from out of the heavens. See, here it says a star. It doesn't call it a mountain. So there's something different about it. I'm not exactly sure. But it says it was burning as a lampas. We have lamp, comes from that. So this star, if we see it, it's coming and it's going to be on fire. And it's going to be heading towards the earth. And it fell and hit the earth. And it fell upon the third of the rivers. So now we have, and upon the springs of waters. So now we have the rivers and the springs of water, a third of the earth. So this whole thing is a third of almost everything that's live. And this says, in the name of the Asteros, the star, an asteroid comes from that, is called, in the Greek it's absinthos. And I call it absinthium. I believe that's what's in the King James. Absinthe is a drink. It's a purple drink. They call it the magical fairy, something like that, during the turn of the 19th century, late 1800s. The absinthe drinker with this purple liqueur, and I guess it had some type of a narcotic in it with alcohol. But this is absinthos. And that's absinthe, and then the Greek English word I have is absinthium. And the third of the waters became into absinthium. Now, whatever that is, it says, and many of the men died from the waters, for they were made bitter. So there was something about this water that when this star hits, that it will undoubtedly cause a lot of ash to go all over the world, and this ash apparently is somewhat poisonous, and it will hit the waters, flow down the waters, and many people will die, and for the waters were made bitter. It doesn't say everybody or how many, just many. And day 12, and the fourth angel trumped, and a third of the sun was struck, and the third of the moon, and the third of the stars, that a third of them should be darkened. Now, I don't think the sun itself is going to be third of it put out, or the moon, whatever, all these things that are hitting the earth and the mountains and all this up where is going to be a tremendous amount of cloud ash in the air probably, and somehow a third of it's going to be darkened. Now, if it's in giant clouds over 1/3 of the cloud system, and as it goes around it hits the other third, I don't know how it's going to work, but anyway, a third of the, so you won't be able to see it. For apparently it says, in the day should not appear for a third of it, in the night in like manner. So you go out in the daytime, it's going to be like an eclipse. In the nighttime, you won't be seeing the stars for the third of the day and the third of the night. Apparently, the eclipse is going to happen in some sort of a manner from the star hitting. I live in Newport, Oregon, and August 21st of 2017, of the year I'm talking, is going to be the great eclipse, one of the strongest, powerfulest eclipse, but longer lasting. And it's going to go across the United States. And guess where it's going to hit land when it first appears on land on the western coast of the United States? Right over my house. I kid you not. This is unbelievable. I kid you not. It's going to be right over my house, and it's about 20-mile width that the total eclipse will be. And they're expecting hundreds of thousands of people to converge down where I live in Nye Beach, a little small village on the Oregon coast. and they're telling nobody will be able to go outside or go anywhere for 5 days because there's so many people will be coming and parked all over the place. And I live right on the beach. I mean, my house is right, I don't know, 100 feet from the walking down, and I'm on the beach. So I'm going to be inundated, but I'm going to have my telescope out, looking to see, and then I'm going to have my signs at the. I have little brochures about the Apostolic Bible, and I was going to maybe put something about the eclipse or whatever happened when Jesus died. I can't remember, it was 3 hours or 4 hours that it was darkened. So that was not an eclipse. An eclipse doesn't stay that long. So I was thinking about maybe putting a sign up also out front that says that, the earth was darkened for whatever it was. I should have looked it up, but I wasn't planning on telling you about all this. But this is something like this is the eclipse is happening, but this in Revelation is much stronger than an eclipse. And he says, "Then I saw and I heard one eagle flying in mid-heaven." Well, now flying in mid-heaven would be in the sky, saying with a great voice, so the eagle speaking, "Woe, woe, woe to the ones dwelling upon the earth, from the remaining sounds of the trumpet of the 3 angels being about to trump." So this eagle, I don't know how can it talk, but now I'm sure it comes to our mind it could be something like a satellite or an airplane or some type of a mechanical thing that's saying this, but I don't think so. It says an eagle flying in mid-heaven. IA2 will find out, or somebody will find out when they hear this, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." And then it says, for the woe for the remaining sound of the trumpet of the 3 angels being about to trump. And we will go into these 5th, 6th, and 7th trumpet in chapter 9. Hope you'll join us, and God bless.